All right, our next beer here from College Street Brewhouse?
Yes.
Pub?
Yeah, Brewhouse and Pub, that's what we end up calling
Yeah,
it.
you have the website too, right?
Yeah, Brewhouse and Pub, it's an incredibly long website.
Okay, well, anyway, this is a beer I thought we were going to save for last, but we just have to do this next. We have to, right? Yeah. So tell us about this beer.
So Brother Dewey's Date Night, it started off as kind of a pet project as a brown ale, and then there's a local date farmer in South Arizona, in Yuma, and he came up one day and he said, I got a bunch of dates, you guys think you can do anything with this? So we decided to start formulating a recipe. So this bad boy here starts as a brown ale. We brew it with 250 pounds of locally sourced dates out of Yuma, a whole bunch of blue clover honey out of Cottonwood. We take all that, we throw it in, and then we age it for a year. So we basically age ourselves in old ale is what we end up calling it at the end of the day, and it's brown ale.
And the aging is done in what kind of...
for the most part, we ferment it for about 45 days. So it stays in the fermenter for a long time in stainless steel, and then we keg some of it, and we barrel age some of it, and then we end up doing a blend back with it in the whole mess, and we blend it all together, and then we start bottling in 22s and pop it in kegs.
So for the people that don't know, when you go on the 45 like that, the yeast is really a big deal, how to deal with the yeast, because as we know, it's eating the sugar out of the beer, and that's what creates the flavor, the alcohol content, and everything else. Yep. So how do you manage that process?
We have a pretty good proprietary yeast strain at College Street, so the fermentation itself is actually pretty well finished by the end of 20 days max.
Oh, yeah.
And then our yeast responds really well to pressure and temperature. So as we drop the tank, it settles out, we'll pull it off, and then we'll let it sit there and kind of condition to a sense where the flavors start to slowly develop. Even though yeast fermentation is stopped, it starts to condition and develop itself before we pop it into a keg.
Let's open it.
I love dates. I'm so excited to try this. This is going to be my first.
Well, then I'm going to pour yours first.
That's a nice brown pour.
It's got a nice brown color to it. Yeah.
That's a beautiful brown color.
Do we get the nose of the dates in it too?
That would be my hope and my assumption. Yeah, that was the goal right out of the bat.
Yes, sir.
You get a nice date sugar smell out of it.
And this is a 2014, correct?
This is a 2014 vintage, yeah. So we brew it. It sits for a year at the brewery before we bottle it, and then once it hits the market,
you guys nailed it. You nailed the aroma. You nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
And this one's at 8%, so you can actually get the dates in the back of your throat. Because dates actually have a little bit of bitterness to them, along with the sugar.
And I'm glad we kept it out of the cooler a little to get a little warmer feel to it. Yeah, it did open up a bit. I really like this.
Very
why
complex.
you do better? You let it breathe and you let it warm up a little bit longer.
A lot of work, a lot of love in this beer.
Yeah.
So this one won us a bronze medal at the Great American Beer Festival in the old age beer category. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because I like medals as much as the next guy, but yeah.
So that's available only a certain time of the year, only at your location, right?
Yeah.
You don't distribute that.
Well, we actually distribute it in Phoenix. It hasn't moved its way out to Las Vegas yet.
We'll hit key areas this time, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So we distribute it. It basically rolls out probably end of September or August. It actually always ends up falling on whenever the Great American Beer Festival is, because it just kind of timed itself as being the beer that we've released at the same time.
Are you going to that festival?
Yeah, every year we go.
Okay, nice.
We go check it out. Yeah, we go into the chaos and the mass hysteria that is the Great American Beer Festival.
That's what we wait all year for.
I don't know if you guys have been there yet, but if you haven't been,
I really want to make our way there. We really should have. We should go to that place. It's the all-star game for beer, for craft beer. So listen, I'm gonna start the rating here. I gotta tell you guys. I like dark beers. I like stouts. The darker, the better. As far as brown ales go, I would never go out and order a brown ale just on a whim. But I like this a lot.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot. This is a great brown ale. I'm gonna give it a 9. If there's an 8.5, 9 in that range, I'm gonna say this is a 9.
You guys are gonna have to make a 7.5.
Yeah.
7.5 card.
Folks, this is. I mean, if you're into brown ale, you guys just did great. I mean, I really like this. I really like this.
I follow with a 9 too. Love the sophistication of that beer. I wish we had more time to flavor it.
A little warm up.
Yeah, a little warm up. The perfume in it, I love it. Dates. Nobody uses dates, rarely.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other beers out there with dates, but I love the idea. I love your honey flower, from your region.
Blue clover honey. Yeah.
Clover honey. There's some spice to it. It's a fantastic beer. Like you said, people by nature, I don't think we order normally brown ale normally.
It's not a incredibly popular
But this, It's deserving.
Surprising.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no good.
JT, what do you
10
think?
10.
What do you think? JT?
I would say give it a solid 10, but I want you guys to make fun of me. So I'm going to go with a 9.
Here you go.
You go with the
I think
9.5.
You can do that, yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot of work in this beer, and I see these guys just busting their ass, making sure this beer's done correctly every time. And the older it gets, it's neat to see how much it changes too.
Yeah.
So.
JT, this is something you just mentioned now. Go 10 seconds. When you say love and people busting their ass, some people think that brewing beer is just like you pour water, you pour a couple ingredients, you wait and enjoy
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Right? Tell the people how much work there is in beer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more people think. I see these guys just, it's their passion, you know what I mean? And they're in there and they're humping the bags, they're doing this, up and down the ladders and, just documenting these fermenters. And
Most people don't realize it's
I mean, he's
making
so,
beer is like 90% of the job is janitorial.
Yeah.
It's scrubbing,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
cleaning,
yeah.
it's pushing, it's lifting, it's
Yeah.
nonstop. You gotta be.
They even play certain music. If there's certain beers from at certain times, you gotta play certain music for it because he says the beer hears music. That's how
That's
it's
true.
done. Yeah.
Dewey's is a big fan of jazz. Our wheat beer, it's like for some reason, it's a big weirdo.
Music is vibration, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
that's
does work together. People don't realize that, but there's really science behind
Yeah,
it
music.
works.
And it's always
Every
hard
beer we
to-
make loves bluegrass. Just saying.
That's good.
All right. It's always hard to pull these guys away to play some foosball with me too,
Yeah.
ping pong. So.
And I'm assuming you got the 10 up there. You have to.
You have to.
So I'm gonna give it a 10.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm moving through a sour, and I like dark beers. I like aged beers. It's just kind of the phase I'm in, and as far as my palate goes. And I like the fact that this beer, if it like you drink it today, it'll taste like it tastes like right now if we're drinking. If you sat on it for another year, it'd have a little bit more butteriness to it, and it would change and adapt a little bit here and there. As oxygen and light gets to it, it's only going to improve. So I like any beer, honestly, that doesn't have an expiration date. That I know is only going to get better the older it gets.
Definitely.
Well, we got some
And
more.
that's
on-
another thing people don't know, Not all beers have an expiration date. Some of them get better like us.
Always.
As we get older, we get better.
Nice.
Silver Fox,
That's what I keep saying.
Silver Fox,
You
yeah.
bet.
Well, we're not stopping at 2. We've got some more to sample coming up. I believe it's a stout coming up.
Yeah, we're going to do stout next. Yeah.
Coming up next with that.